Peace and love, beautiful souls. Here we are in week four of the numerology class. We've dived into the foundation of the numbers, the meaning, the planetary aspects, angel numbers, birth chart aspects. I mean, we went in on a lot of different ways to kind of incorporate these numbers and see how they play out in our daily lives and how our energies are naturally connected to a lot of these numbers just based off our birth chart and our birthdays and all that good stuff. So it's been fun so far. I know we tapped into the challenge numbers last week. So tonight we're gonna tap into the pinnacle numbers. All right. So we're gonna incorporate those pinnacle numbers. And if you go inside the classroom, I updated the PDF. It should be. I don't know if it's showing up as two or one in there. But if there is two of them in there as far as the challenge number PDF, I added the pinnacle numbers to it. All right. So you should see the pinnacle numbers at the bottom part of that PDF now. All right, so if you already downloaded the old PDF, you can kind of get rid of that one and take this new one. I went ahead and put the pinnacles with that challenge number aspect. All right, so they can kind of both be in the same PDF. All right, so this week I'll be going over that PDF, and once again, it should be already uploaded in the classroom. Let me know if you guys see it in there, if you have any problems downloading it at all. All right, but the tip, go ahead. Who was that? Okay,
It's
I thought.
there. I see it. It had, I see it. It's there, and I see the pinnacle numbers. Thank you.
Okay, I already. Is it two of them in there, June, or just one?
There's two.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
the last one is the one that has the pinnacle numbers on there, so that's what I grabbed.
I bet. Because I was trying to delete it, but it kept on giving me an error. But I'll try to go in there and delete that again. But yeah, the second one would be the updated PDF, y'all. All right. So the first one is the one that previously uploaded, and the next one will be the updated PDF. So in typical fashion, any questions about those challenge numbers so far, and how you can kind of incorporate them in your daily life, what that looks like? If there's any questions you had about how you calculated them or put them together. If y'all just want to dive into those challenge numbers one more time, before we get into those pinnacle numbers, we can definitely do that. But I definitely break those pinnacle numbers went down the same way how we walk down those challenge numbers and giving some examples. So I'll be asking y'all throughout the PDF or throughout the course tonight. About y'all relationship with these pinnacle numbers as I kind of show how they added up and how they show up in our lives. So anybody want to talk about those challenge numbers or any questions or anything y'all want to talk about?
Okay, I do have a question because I remember us talking about the challenge numbers, and that was one way when we were looking at the four ways with the month and the day. And you said the other way, the Chaldean way, was to if we didn't have that number within when we did our name. So the homework assignment was to do the name, and I did the name, and I noticed that I was missing some numbers. So what I believe to be my challenge numbers, I'm not clear on anymore because it kind of changed. The difference in the way that we came up with the challenge number.
No, no, no. So let's do this. And I love that because it can be seeming like damn which one. I love to just say we're going to apply both as challenge numbers aspects, but remember we just coming from two different perspectives. That's it. So as you can see, a lot of times, even with the names or the numbers that are missing in a name, you can start to see how that might resonate probably a little bit more, especially on the internal level, because now you're dealing with how this could be missing from personality and soul urge traits. So you know what I mean? So the numbers that are showing up in the name can represent a different aspect of challenges. All right. It's like still challenges, but like imagine somebody could be challenged with running because their leg is messed up. Somebody else could be challenged because they don't like to run. You get what I mean? So it's just showing two different aspects of how the challenges can show up in our lives. All right. So don't discard either one is what I'm saying. Right. So take which one that applies the most and use them both, I would say. So did you get something else that resonated? I know that it was the homework. So
Yeah,
we can definitely go over
yeah,
the homework with y'all too. Whatever y'all want to talk about with the homework with those numbers.
yeah, because I have a lot of even numbers when I do it by my month and year and day, and
Uh-huh.
then when I do it with my name, they're odd numbers. So it's really interesting that it does kind of it resonates on both sides though. It's because it's it's energy, so I see it, and I think the reason why it resonates because we have to keep in mind that it's a different perspective. So when you said that, it clicked, and I was like, yeah, that's why. So now you've pretty much answered the question because it is a different method.
That's it, and that's why all those schools of thought still apply. You know what I'm saying? So it's like now imagine not only when you like looking at it for yourself, but let's just say when you take this on as a practice or you looking at somebody else's numbers and you able to look at both aspects and like what I said, you won't miss. When you put it all together, it's gonna be hard to miss when you talk about somebody's life or even when you start to see how it aspects to your own life dealing with these numbers. So good shit.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Jim.
I was gonna say somebody had put something in the comments. I didn't know if you saw it. I was just bringing that to your attention.
Oh, what you say? Who that? Tasha. Tasha. What you say? Can I do a quick rundown? A quick rundown of what, Tasha? Which ones?
I missed the class last week. I didn't have a chance to look at it again. I was just wondering if you could go back. Look, just a highlight of what y'all went over.
What? Nah, we ain't doing that, Tasha. You got to be on clap. No, I'm just
I
messing
know,
with you.
I
I'm gonna
know,
go. I'm gonna
I
go
know
over there
better.
with you. I got you. Nah, I got you. But because I am gonna kind of gloss over it a little bit, just to kind of show the difference between the math from the challenge numbers and also how we get into the pinnacle numbers. So when I get to the PDF, I would definitely kind of go back over that. But the homework for you right now, Tasha, if you got time, I hear you kind of, it might be a little busy, but the homework was to look at the numbers in your name, all right, and also see which numbers do you have missing, all right, like what number is not showing up in your name, right? Out of all the numbers between 1 through 9, which numbers are not showing up in your name, right? So it's kind of like you got to go fishing in your name and see which number is not showing up as you convert those numbers or letters in your name over to a number. All right. And then the way I was telling them to do that, because we're gonna end up going over the personality and the soul urge numbers a little bit deeper. We already touched on them in the first couple of weeks, but we're gonna go into them a little bit deeper. So you can put the consonants at the bottom and the vowels at the top. All right. That'll help you separate the numbers. But that was the homework assignment, right? So the homework assignment once again was to look at your name, all right, your full name, first, middle, and last name, and go inside of there, break down each letter into a number, and see what numbers are missing from your name. All right. Now, anybody else want to talk about what they got from their homework? All right.
Sensei, I did it. I separated, but I didn't put the numbers that was missing from my name. So
Okay. Yeah,
I'll go
it's
back
all
and
good.
do that.
Yeah, shit, you can do that right now. You already know, Alberta. You can go fishing for that right now. So even when you got the way you just sent what you sent to me on the breakdown, you can definitely let's look at that and see what numbers are not showing up. You might better do that while I'm talking shit. But that when we look at those numbers, I for when you continue, because remember this is ongoing. You're gonna be kind of exploring this, even from a deeper aspect as you kind of get the layers of the numbers. But when you're looking at those numbers that are missing, what I've seen is those are a lot of because I love what June just said, odd and even numbers, right? It means you're gonna have spiritual and material numbers. All right. Now we're gonna kind of get into this after I go over the pinnacle numbers. We're gonna start getting into like spiritual and material aspects of the numbers and shit, showing up how they show up as masculine, feminine, all that kind of shit. Before we kind of go into my methodology of how I do the numerology readings and shit. But when you're looking at this from an aspect of odd and even numbers, let's look at them from an aspect of spiritual and physical, right? So that just means that somebody could let's just say somebody could be a little bit more in in the clouds on the low end per se, right? Or somebody could be a little bit more spiritually inclined on the high end, right? If they have a lot of spiritual numbers in their name. This, of course, would equate to 3, 6, 9. You get what I mean? Of course, this would also equate to 7. All right, 7 being ruled by Pluto, Neptune, right? So Jupiter type energy, you get what I mean? So when you look at those numbers and you see them in somebody's name, right? Versus how you might see a lot of three ones or twos or fives, right? Or even eights. You get what I'm saying? Or fours. These are material plane numbers. All right. That just kind of show you the difference between how somebody can be or you even yourself could be a little bit more spiritually inclined or a little bit more prone to materialistic thinking. All right, that's just all it is. All right, somebody could be a little bit more faith based, a little bit more heavily leaning on, the unseen things or in tune with that, versus somebody could be kind of just stuck in a rigid aspect from the materialistic aspect, or somebody who can be prone to material wealth. So it's a lot of different ways we can look at that. But I want y'all to kind of go into seeing how that can show up as just another challenge in your names, and also how you can apply that in the future. So did that make sense what I just said? Who that did make sense to? All right, bit cool. All right, so let's go into the PDF and let's get it on. It's the wrong PDF. I don't need you right now. Okay, there we go. I don't know what's going on with the technology over here. Oh, too much data. Hold up, wait. Too much data. So, yeah, hold up. Deletions.
And if you have a ton of tabs open, that'll cause that too.
Too much. Oh shit! Hold on.
Tabs on tabs on tabs on tabs.
Okay, y'all get to see how many tabs I got. All right.
Listen, listen, we
It's
all
okay.
do it. We all do it.
All right, let me see here. Hold on, let me close this up. Got 104 tabs up. Let me shut up. Okay, there we go. Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
All right, good. All right, now for review purposes, for Tasha, no, I'm just playing. I ain't gonna single you out like that, Tasha. Now, we talked about the challenge numbers last week, right? And we talked about how the challenge numbers are not so-called good or bad, but in essence, they kind of mark areas in our life to where growth is likely, where your attention will often be required for growth and emotional intelligence. It's just kind of like we talked about how dealing with the roots of where it comes from Mesopotamian aspects, the Chaldean use of it. We kind of broke down that from the missing numbers. I mean, we talked about those traditions of the language kind of related to how we even deal with the technique of, I would say, calculating the challenge numbers per se. So that framework, dealing with the ancient numbers, it's like was the systemized from modern numerology schools. So Pythagorean-based numerology, date of birth challenge method, most commonly used by Chaldean practices. The name, the letter gaps. I mean, we talked about that with the missing variants of the challenge. That's the Kabbalistic use of the textual gematria study after rather than the modern challenge technique. So remember, even dealing with them before we simplified them. Remember, Pythagorean just basically kind of so-called simplifies it for us, right? A lot of the other aspects, Chaldean, Gematria, they don't deal with so much as not only simplifying it, but we deal with it from a compound aspect as well. So we can always incorporate that now that we're aware of that, how that system works. So don't ever feel like you're doing something wrong by doing both methods, all right? So remember the whole thing that we're doing by learning this is being able to incorporate all these different schools of thought as we did with numerology, because there's no reason why we should separate it anyway, not in my eyes, all right? So when we talked about the step by step, the digits, the master numbers, simplifying them or keeping them the same. All right. Now the challenge numbers. All right, Tasha. This is how the challenge numbers were. How we talked about bringing those into fruition. The month minus the day. All right. So that's the month reduced. All right. So if you were born during the 10th month, I mean the 11th month, that were reduced to a 2. If you were born in the 13th month, they're reduced to a 4. You reduce that day, all right, you reduce that, then you would minus that by the day. So I gave an example of my birthday and birth month being a 6 and a 6. All right, so my first challenge number would be a 0. So I would subtract my month from my day. And you do that from a reduced aspect. You do the same thing with the challenge number 2, but except you use the year reduced and use the day reduced. So my year reduced 1979 came to an 8. And then the reduction of my day once again is a 6, and that left a 2. The challenge number 3 was all about subtracting challenge number 1, which is a 0 from challenge number 2, which became a 2. All right. So that became another 2. The year reduced again, minus the month reduced was the last aspect of the challenge number 4. All right. So that was just kind of how we went over that. We talked about breaking that down, incorporating the numbers to that. So you got the PDF on that now. You understand the basis of what we talking about with these challenge numbers and how they play out on different areas of our life. We talked about how the first challenge number kind of corresponds to early life phases and how the infant child learns to orient kind of the first few years of our life. I would say the first 7 to 10 years of our life. The second challenge number kind of incorporate to the young adulthood, teenagers, 12 to like 21 or 24 up in there and shit like that. Midlife turning point, I would say from like 33 all the way up until about 45, even 55 or some shit like that. So it just kind of how the numbers play out throughout a bigger gap as we get older, and then later life lessons with the challenge number 4. And this, of course, can happen later on in our life once we kind of been through some of the gambits of life and all this good shit. All right. So now we'll get off into those pinnacle numbers. But before I do, anybody want to talk about anything else about those challenge numbers before I get off into this, or any questions or anything we need to clear up about the challenge numbers?
No, I don't.
I bet. Now, what are pinnacle numbers? Pinnacle numbers are life phases or stages in numerology, showing the evolving chapters of your soul's journey. They act as milestones, revealing the kinds of opportunities, challenges, spiritual lessons, and material conditions that will dominate certain periods of life. While your life path number is like the core story to your source code, your pinnacle numbers are the plot twists and landscape setting the stages through which that story unfolds. All right, so with this part, I want you to view it as like, you know how I know a bunch of y'all done got a reading for me, right? How I say the houses are like the stage where it's all gonna play out, right? Just view these pinnacle numbers are like they're setting the stage where it's all gonna play out, right? Some type of way, this number was very influential into the experience and how it was shaped in order for you to go through it per se. The challenge numbers can be what happened within it, right? The things you had to go through, move through within it. All right. So paired, right, with the challenge numbers, the challenge numbers together, they form a dynamic of what grows and what tests you, right? It's like that's the map for each life lesson that these challenge and pinnacle numbers kind of play out. All right. So when you put them together with the challenge numbers, the test, right? So they come together, they put this dynamic together about what grows versus what tests you and what tests you. Okay. Now the pinnacle numbers come from your birth date and are calculated in 4 stages. All right. The first pinnacle numbers, you add the month and the day. Okay. All right. Now in numerology, this number carries a dual meaning. I use this as your attitude number, and you'll see why when I show you about my way of looking at this, and you'll see how I incorporate this to an attitude number, even as we talk about this number. Now, the first pinnacle, remember, add the month and the day of birth. My month and my day of birth, 6 and 6, that gives me 12, of course. That leaves me with a 3. All right. And of course, we can look at that 12 as well. So it represents youth to early childhood around age 0 to 27. Now, the theme of this is personal foundation, self discovery. All right. That's why I can deal a lot with your attitude number. Okay. Now, the second pinnacle number, you add the day and the year of your birth. Okay. Now, if you see the difference, remember I told y'all last week, one of the major differences between the challenge and the pinnacles is one, We are doing what? Somebody want to give me an ad lib right quick? What are we doing with the challenge numbers?
Adding them,
Challenge numbers opposite.
also subtracting them.
There we go. Now with the pinnacle numbers, we are doing what?
You're gonna add it.
You better goddamn know it. So now we're dealing with addition now, right? So the second pinnacle is the day plus the year of birth, right? So of course we can do that on a reduced, or you can do that from a number by number perspective. On this part, that doesn't matter. All right. So of course, if I do mine 6 and 8 together, right? And of course, we know that's gonna give us a 13, a 14. Now, when you get to this representing early maturity around the age of 28 to 36, the theme is career building, right? Building career identity, relationships. The third pinnacle is going to deal with adding the first pinnacle and the second pinnacle, okay? So the first pinnacle plus the second pinnacle, all right? So that would mean for me, I would add the three, all right, plus the five, because I came to a 14. So that would give me an eight. All right. So that means my third pinnacle number would be an eight. Okay. That's a midlife power. That's from 37 to 45. That is the theme of expression, mastery, and soul work. The fourth pinnacle deals with adding the month and the year of birth. Okay. So mine will be a 6 and an 8 once again. That will be leading me to a 5. That represents later life stages from age 46 until death. This theme is around legacy, wisdom, and spiritual harvest, right? It's like the wisdom that you leave and how you cultivate that and how you move with that. Anybody got any questions on the math?
Nope.
All right. The math is math and we good. Bet that. Now, if you get 11, 22, or 33, of course, they remain master numbers unless the system you're using reduces them. And of course, we're using our own system. So we're going to reduce all the numbers because that helps us understand what a master number is asking of us. Now, the origins of the pinnacle numbers come from the Western system of pinnacle number systems from Pythagorean numerology. And that's kind of dealing with circa, and that's like the 600 BCE era. However, the idea of life cycles being broken into stages is much older, with roots in Kemetic sciences. Egyptian cosmology saw life in phases of rebirth and ascension, right? So it's like the hero's journey, Horus' journey, Osiris' underworld cycles. The Chaldean numerology emphasized cycles of fate and destiny. Vedic astrology, planetary dashas, periods, mirrors, pinnacle numbers, showing phases of karmic lessons. Pinnacle numbers, therefore, are numerological codex of spiritual time, blending ancient mysticism with personal development. Now, the spiritual and the mundane aspects and the personal influence that kind of show pinnacle numbers reflect the soul contracts per se. Now, what lessons you agree to work on or work through in each era of your life. They show where karmic themes repeat or evolve. Paired with the challenge numbers, they reveal your initiation trials and the spiritual test needed for mastery. Now, that means if we master or marry the pinnacle numbers along with each stage of the challenge numbers, all right? So all we doing is what the first pinnacle number, match that with the first challenge number. You can even see how the pinnacle number can play out with every challenge number. Every challenge number could play in a part of every pinnacle number, meaning that every challenge could have played a part in how you reach that certain pinnacle, right? At that stage of your life, okay? That makes sense? Who that don't make sense to? I bet. Now, on the mundane aspect, this is going to deal with on worldly level. Pinnacle numbers correspond to career shifts. These are just some key points you can look at in association with your pinnacle numbers: financial cycles, relationships, family growth, social or environmental factors, right? Things that played out in your society or in your environment or your neighborhood that you probably couldn't control, but some type of way it affected your life. All right. Now they often mark when major opportunities or disruptions also occur. Okay. So you can look at that from that perspective. Okay. Now the pinnacle numbers can shape your inner landscape and how your confidence, maturity, and emotional awareness expand over time. They also reveal what tools you'll need along the way: patience, courage, discipline, adaptability, creativity. Of course, depending on the number influence. right? And all that means is, in what fashion does it want to shape these key words right here, right? In what way does this number want to help you cultivate more patience, courage, discipline, adaptability, or creativity? Now, the pinnacle numbers equal what is offered. The challenge numbers is what we must overcome, right? It's like, damn, I know what's on the other side, but I gotta go through all this shit to get it. Like, damn, why I gotta go through this shit to get to, it's those questions we can add, like, why life for me? Why my life gotta be so hard? Like, when this shit gonna ever get easy for me? You can see the pinnacle, right? So they work as cosmic equations. The pinnacles open doors, the challenge guards them. All right. That's how I want you to look at this. Now, a pinnacle like 6, family, love, balance, right? Now, this can do with a challenge 5 of freedom versus responsibility. Life lessons about harmonizing freedom with commitment. All right. So let's just look at that from that perspective. You got a pinnacle number that's a 6, and you got any goddamn challenge number that's a 5. That's just one way you can just incorporate that. This is kind of the theme of how I want you to incorporate all these numbers from that aspect, right? The marriage from the pinnacle to the challenge. All right. Kind of what is at what is behind the door and what's challenged you to get through the goddamn door. Now, each pinnacle number also resonates, of course. Y'all already know we're gonna get the astrology on this. The one dealing with sun, identity, leadership. The 2, moon, emotion, relationship. The 3, Jupiter, creativity, expansion. 4, Saturn, discipline, structure. 5, Mercury, travel, change, communication. 6, Venus, love, beauty, responsibility. Neptune, K2, spirituality, introspection. 8, Saturn, Pluto, power, material mastery, karmic cycles. Mars, completion, humanitarianism. And I'm supposed to put Rahu with 9. All right. And then the higher octaves are going to be 11, 22, and 33. Now, this ties numerology to astrology, showing how pinnacle cycles mirror planetary transits in our charts. So you can look at those transits and what cycle you are in your life. You're going through a Saturn return, or you're in Mars years, right? We can even look at this from a cardiology perspective. You go what I'm saying? Like what year or what phase are you in your life, and even on a yearly spread per se. Now, they echo the geometry of sacred time. The 4 equals the pinnacles. The 4 pinnacles, the 4 seasons, the 4 elements, the 4 sons of Heru, right? Man, we talked about that. Now, each pinnacle represents a dimension of growth, youth, initiation, maturation or maturity, application, mastery, transformation, wisdom, and completion. In Kemetic mysticism, this progression mirrors the soul ascension through the duat, the underworld, the trials towards divine union. Now, some of the ways you can apply this, all right, and of course we're gonna get into y'all pinnacle numbers. We can tap in on that tonight. All right, we can spend some time on those, of course. Now, calculate your pinnacle numbers. Understand the current chapter you're in. Reflect on how the theme is showing up in your daily life, choices and struggles. Pair it with your astrological transits and your tarot archetypes, right? So that's if you don't pull some cards for yourself. Now, this is like even for people, because some people pull for themselves every day. I know some people that pull cards for themselves every day. Even if you get a reading, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I give somebody a reading, I pull some cards for them, I'm able to understand what challenge number they in, what pinnacle area they in. You know what I'm saying? Like, this can give me a greater understanding of why this card even came up, or why these cards are coming up. So you just use it as a map, not a cage. Pinnacle numbers show the terrain, but you decide how to walk it. Remember, we don't live by the stars. A fool does that. We make them dance at our feet around here. Now, a 6 step way of working the pinnacle protocol, right? Especially during the inner pinnacle phase. Identify the active pinnacle and its per challenge. Journal list 3 concrete life events that illustrate the pinnacle theme in those past 3 years. Map the challenge behavior, right? That's like a concrete example, like they kind of interfere, right? The things that kind of they get in the way, your own thoughts, your own pessimistic shit, your own likes, your own dislikes. But you have to be honest with yourself. This is a form of shadow work, right? I started to put that, but I didn't. I just said I was gonna speak on that more so. Cause when you look at this gonna reveal a shadow aspect. Even when you look at some of the astrological aspect that it's aligned with, right? So when you're talking about like for the challenge with a 4, all right, to create a 15-minute daily ritual or daily system. The challenge with a two is a minute of boundary script type shit, right? So remember, this is coming from the moon with the two, right? We're dealing with the four being the foundational aspects and all that good shit. Now, aligning with astrologers, check your major transits like Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto, right, for more of a supportive window. Because these planets support transformation. Even though they might force a lot of shit on us, like real shit, these planets are always there to support our transformation, especially mainly those three planets, right? Remember, Uranus is going to support our awakening per se. But these planets are always going to force us to growth and transformation. Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto are going to be heavily responsible for that shit. So when you're dealing with reviewing quarterly and kind of, of course, we're dealing with the year breaking it down into quarters and ritualized progress at the end of the pinnacle, a closure ceremony or even a public offering. It's just kind of way to give thanks for the end. Just make it a ritualistic practice if you choose to do so. Right. So here's kind of the copy sheet, the screenshot, of course, a kind of a quick way that you can look at this. Right. Reduce the month and the day. Reduce the second is the reducing the day plus the year. The third one is the first and the second plus together. That gives you that. The fourth one is reducing the month. That equals the reduced aspect of the month plus the year. All right. So the first ends at 36, the light path. The second, the third, 9 years each. Fourth final phase. So use as like, then we're looking at kind of how the first ends at 36. All right. The light path, the second and the last, like 9 years each. So it's kind of like how you want to look at those and how they can play out in cycles per se, dealing with 9 year cycles. And those 9 year cycles can show you when those, I would say those pinnacles or those challenges reach a pinnacle. All right. Kind of like how how the nine energy plays out. So the fourth final phase, right? That's what that kind of plays out to when you look at those last 9 years and how they played out, especially you dealing with cycles of two, right? After the age of 36. So use as a map long term opportunities pairing with the challenge to see the friction, align with rituals and decisions to the pinnacle themes. So some of the daily practices, of course. So in short, pinnacle numbers are four great arches in your life's temple. They frame your destiny in stages, balancing opportunities, pinnacles with trials, right? So it's like the challenge, the origin lies in the ancient cyclical wisdom, blending numerology, astrology, and sacred geometry into living God for self-mastery, a living God for self-mastery. So anybody want to talk about they marriage of these numbers? Anybody want to give it a shot? Anybody want to dive deep into what it was going on and how can you want to reflect? It can be any aspect because did anybody get any realizations or did anybody start doing any of this math or do we need to do some of this math together real quick?
Can you scroll back down to the numbers and the planets, please?
There you go. And remember the aspect of the challenge number. So whatever challenge number that you feel like ties the most to that pinnacle phase in your life, that's the one you run with. All right. We don't have to kind of marry them. They might match up phase by phase. Your fourth challenge number might go directly with the final phase of your life. You get what I'm saying? Or your first goddamn challenge number might match up with the final phase, right? Because a lot of us are past the age of 36 in this goddamn chat right now, right? So when we look at that from that perspective, a lot of us are gonna be looking at that fourth pinnacle, kind of that third pinnacle as well. Or you can look at them all to kind of see what is resonating right now. And we can just kind of look at where we are right now in our life cycle. You know what I'm saying? And how to measure that up. So anybody need some help with the math?
I've already done mine and I'm just like, I'm blown away with everything. Once I start out like, oh shit. And excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a potty mouth. And with me being in this fourth pinnacle, and I'm at a one, it's blowing my
Wow.
mind because it's like everything is calling for me to be in leadership, to be seen, to be out in the open, to share about light and knowledge and wisdom. And I'm just like, oh no, I don't want the responsibility. But yeah.
So what's the
Um,
challenge then?
the challenge is that freaking 8. When you look at that daggone year and month, the challenge number is 8 for for me, and it's speaking to, the power, the wisdom, and then it's like the structure that, because it's Saturn. No,
Yes.
eight is I'm
No,
sorry,
you're
no,
right.
8 is okay, yeah. So 8 is Saturn, and it just goes to more of what I have been experiencing. And then I'm in my Saturn in cycle in cardology. So Ace of Spades. So again, all of that is lining up. And it's so incredible how all of this kind of is an overlap, but it lines up because I'm looking at my pinnacle being an ace. I'm in my Saturn, which is the challenge number, which is the 8. And then my Saturn is an ace of spade. And I'm literally in my second year of the ace of spades. So that's saying a lot about me being structured, solid in the foundation of me being grounded, a lot of things that I need to do with myself, for myself, about myself. But then when I'm out in society, I'm having to share the wisdom. I'm having to be more vocal. This is the most I've spoken in any group setting in a while. Even though I have other classes, I think this is the most I've ever spoken.
No, I
So this
love
is
it.
this is saying a lot about the energies that I'm actually in, and they're playing out even though we may not see it. But once we do the math, we're like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And then you have all these epiphanies that come through. But I'm gonna stop talking now and let somebody else share.
Nah, you good. That was some good shit right there because I love how you just went right into the math and it all made sense immediately. I love that. Now I want you to tell everybody how you got to that 8 challenge number. You said it, but I want you to tell the people because somebody might be like, "How she get that challenge number? How do you get to the 8 challenge number and married that with the 1 as the pinnacle?"
Well, I got to the challenge number of 8 by my year minus the month. My year is 1972. My month is 9. So 1 minus 9 equals 8. And we're all doing it on the positive side. We're not doing the algebraic math where we're doing it as a negative. So
Right.
anyway, and then when I got to the pinnacle, which is the month and the year, the added, it's 9 plus 1972, which was 28, reduced to 10, then reduced to the 1. And it's interesting because I'm seeing these numbers, and I have, a lot of, tens in my I have a 10 in my spread and some other things. And, the 1 and the 0, when you look at them separate, that's yourself and the infinite possibilities, making something out of nothing. And even though when you talk about that, I think about that frequently because, everything is this cycle. 0 expands that 1 to some degree in what I'm experiencing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, but I know you have, your definition, but for me, the way that I feel like it does expand. And since I do study cardology, I see that the 1 is myself and 0 is my higher consciousness, and how that is expanding me, because when you do connect to your higher consciousness, you are expanding because that conversation gives you more it leads you to growth.
You better goddamn know it. And that's why 0 is connected to Pluto. So
And
everything you just shit. That's the whole. That's why everything you just said is what I put with 0, right?
uh-huh. Uh-huh. And
So
Pluto
even
rules my house.
I was
Pluto
just
rules
gonna
my
now,
chart.
and now we can look at what Pluto's doing in your chart and what is transiting with Pluto and Aquarius in your chart right now. So
Mm-hmm. We'll do that.
now that's a deeper way for you to kind of get that aspect. So all you got to do is look at where Aquarius is in your chart, right? So remember, we just looking at the house ruler, right? This would be kind of quick way for y'all to learn some astrology real quick. We can just do it based off the rising, based off the ascendant. We ain't got to overthink it. We ain't got to do no extra class of this. We'll just do straight whole sign shit, right? So what's your rising, June? I
My
know it,
rising
but
is Yeah, my rising is Scorpio. I don't
all
mind
right,
sharing
so she has a Scorpio rising. So
it.
that means that you're gonna have Aquarius cause how you do the rising. The rising sign is set up because it sets the order of the chart for those out who might not know. So all that means she has Scorpio ruling over her first house. The sign out to Scorpio will rule her second house. What's the sign out to Scorpio?
Sag,
All right, so Sag will rule her second house. The sign out to Sagittarius will rule her third house. What's the sign out to Sagittarius?
Capricorn,
All right. So the sign out to Capricorn, right, will rule her fourth house, which the sign out to Capricorn is what?
Aquarius,
So that means Pluto and Aquarius is transiting what house for you?
uh, fourth.
There we go. So now that's how you can kind of understand the transit, y'all, right? Now, of course, it can kind of get with other math when you deal with other schools of astrology, but from a whole sign perspective, when you deal with the sign just based off the house rulers, based off your ascendant or your rising sign, you look at what planet is married with the zodiac sign, right? And you look at where that house ruler is in your where that zodiac sign rules, what house that zodiac sign rules in your birth chart. All right. And even if you got like a stellium of a certain sign in a certain house, then that 9 times out of 10, that stellium, that zodiac sign is what rules that house. All right. So it's kind of a way for you to understand the transits, and you could be like, well, damn, okay, Pluto is transiting Aquarius, and this is my pinnacle year, you know what I'm saying, with this one. Then yeah, there's gonna be themes around the home, innovation, technology, social media, awakening. This can even bring in certain things going on with technology in the home, hot water heaters and shit like that. Weird shit happening around the home, but it's all adding to your growth and transformation. It's gonna be breaking some comfort zones. Pluto and Aquarius in the fourth house and dealing with a pinnacle number. Yeah, it's gonna be different and some new things and some things you're gonna have to be bold and show some courage through, and it can be around mothership, motherhood, grandmother, of course, be dealing with you, right? So all this type of shit. So it's just some of the other things you can look at. I just wanted to give you that dynamic of how to look at that astrology from that, beloved, when you said the Aquarian, when you talked about the Pluto aspect with the zero, because that was a good breakdown when you added the zero and how it amplifies that one energy for you.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And my question too, when we're working on the pinnacle and challenge, if we were to switch our birth date with the current date, how um is that something that we should be doing as well to kind of figure out this year that we're experiencing?
Man, what? You can definitely do that because now you're looking at your personal year to marry with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Okay.
that's gonna kind of
Okay.
give it your personal your energy, right? So now you breaking down the challenges and the pinnacle aspect of the personal year, right? With numerology that you in. That was a
Okay.
good tie-in right there. Excellent. Because you can definitely do that. Even if you do it day by day, it can be the same thing with how you can look at the card of the day, right? From cardology and look at
Mm-hmm.
how that card of the day is playing out in your card spread, right? Just another way you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of play with the numbers, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But from
Mm-hmm.
what you just said, when you add, of course, because that's the way you kind of deal with your personal year number when you deal with the birthday, the birth month, and the year that we in, you can definitely break that down and get some challenges, some pinnacle energy up out of there for sure, for sure.
Thanks. Thanks. Awesome.
Now I went back to this aspect because this basically what June just spoke about. All right, for those of y'all who might still be a little lost on how to come up with your challenge and your pinnacle energy, because remember the same math is applying or the same dates are applying with the challenge numbers. You just subtracting one and adding the other. So whichever one that you use with those two factors, all right, let's just say X and Y, right? In simple math, X and Y and challenge one would be the month and the day reduced. All right, let's look and see what a month and a day reduced come together in the aspect of the pinnacle numbers. So y'all can see this in real time. So now when you're dealing with the first pinnacle, the month and the day, add it. Y'all see that now? Did y'all catch that? It's kind of like what June just did. Because your first challenge number is the same way you get your first pinnacle number. One we adding and the other one we're subtracting. That's how you can see the relation between the challenge and the pinnacle numbers based off of the factors that you use to get those numbers. And if everybody got that, who's not getting that?
I feel slower than cold molasses right now, but I'm
It's
gonna
all good.
catch
Don't
up. I'm gonna
don't
get it. I'm gonna
you
get
all
it.
good. We finna make sure you get it, Mill. All right. So now, cause I know we went
That was
over your challenge
Tasha.
numbers, right?
That was Tasha. It wasn't me.
Oh, my bad. Okay, my bad. That was Tasha. My bad.
Yeah, I
Now,
can't put that on me.
my bad. Now, Tasha, hold on. Cause y'all be sounding alike sometimes. Now, what part aren't you getting? Tell me that.
No, no, I don't want y'all to wait for me. I have to start from the beginning. I
No,
did.
no, no. It's all good.
No,
It ain't about waiting for you. We in class. We
I
just
don't.
working through it.
Oh, okay. When you said, let's just start with this part then. Adding a one to your first pinnacle or something like that. I didn't get it.
Now, this is how I want you to do it. Let's do a slow walk. Let's do it real time. What is your first challenge number? Meaning, what is your month of birth and your day of birth? Subtract it. So, what month were you born?
July
All right, so that's a 7. What day were you born?
26,
So, what's the 2 and the 6 reduced? 2 plus 6 is what?
8,
All right, so 8 minus 7 is what?
1.
So, your first challenge number is 1. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You writing this down?
Mm-hmm.
All right, big. Now, that's your first challenge number. We're just gonna stay with that. Remember how we got your challenge number, right? We subtracted your month and your day. All right. Now, let's go to your first pinnacle number. Now, we got a 1 for the first challenge number, right? So now let's add up 7 plus 8, because we already simplified 26, which gave us the 8, right? So what's 7 plus 8?
15.
All right. And we reduce that. What is that? 1 and 5 is 6, right?
Yeah.
So that means that your first challenge number is what was the first number?
1.
All right. And then now your first pinnacle number is a what?
A 6.
All right. So now based off of everything we talking about and we've been going over, remember the challenge number is kind of like what's guarding the door. And remember the pinnacle number is like what's behind it. All right. Remember, this is gonna be the first phase of your life. The pinnacle number is gonna be how you had to get where you got to, or the things that you kind of I would say, remember how we talking about how the season of your life and what grows you versus what tests you. Now, the challenge number would be dealing with the 1 would be around what? What is the 1? The theme of the 1?
I don't know.
Hold on, I got you then.
Oh, you talking about
The number 1.
childhood? Oh yeah,
There it is right there.
I got it. The sun.
Okay,
Identity leader.
identity leadership. Okay, now let's
Uh-huh.
take you back up here. All right, that just gave you some key words with the 1. All right, now here's another aspect of the 1 from the challenge. Here's the 1 on the challenge aspect. What we got right here? Read that for me.
Assertion, independence, challenge, archetype, becoming taking first responsibility, mundane sights, trouble asserting, procrastination, fear of leadership. Hey, that's me. Spiritual lesson, healthy self-authority, aligned will, shadow, bossiness or isolation. Hey, that's me again. Practice one sentence, boundary scripts, time, solo tasks, sun-related rituals, morning light work.
Okay, so that's some of the rituals associated with. Now that's the challenge, right, for you to reach the pinnacle of the 6. Okay. Now you seeing the marriage where we going with this here?
Yes.
All right. So when we looking at the 6 and we talking about everything about the pinnacle aspect, let's just go down here and see what the pinnacle was for you to get to. Because remember, the pinnacle is going to be dealing with your early youth. All right, from the age around 0 to 27, personal foundation is self-discovery. So this happened to you through family, through the aspects of everything associated with the six, right? Venus, love, beauty, responsibility. Now, the things you had to work through to get to this was the one. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the one is what you had to embody or move through in order for you to embrace these parts of you: love, beauty, responsibility, the Venus energy, harmony, reciprocity, family issues, family values, all that kind of shit, right? Your leadership skills, you doing things on your own. Family shit could always get in the way, right? You want your own family, want to do your own thing, right? They're just some of the first pinnacle early on in your life. This could have been early on in your life, some of the things that shaped you in that way. And of course, as you can tell, some of these challenges can be ongoing. So did you see how we did that math right there?
Yes.
And then you see how now we do the same thing in a correspondence. So we're doing a corresponding math right here, basically. All right. So that's because last week they already added up they challenge numbers, but it's cool because as you can see, it's just simple math. We're just doing addition and subtraction. So
Mm-hmm.
you would do the same thing here, right? For all of
Mm-hmm.
your challenge numbers. And then of course you can see all of the mathematical equations involve the same numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
what you subtract here, you look at the same thing that you add down here, and those are the two numbers that you can look at in correspondence with each other. That makes sense.
Okay. Yes.
You see how easy that was?
Yes.
That didn't take long at all, did
No,
it?
thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, beloved. Anybody else? Nobody. So y'all just want to take a little while to kind of digest the pinnacle numbers. Y'all want to come back on study group night and talk about this. Then y'all want to digest this for a little while. Is that what we dealing with here?
Study group night. When is that?
That's on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. I thought
Yeah.
it was regular class, but yeah.
Can we do
Mhm.
math? Because I've been had so many interruptions. I'm
It's
just
all good.
I have my 533 was my challenging cards.
Okay.
And so to come up with the pinnacle,
Come up with the pinnacle. Here we go, right here. Mia. You see how y'all they sound alike, man, or am I tripping?
Oh, you have the pretty voice. If I sound like that,
Yeah, both of y'all
all
got a
right.
pretty yeah, y'all sound like y'all sound
They're
alike.
both soft spoken, yes.
Yes, that's that cancer
I know
energy.
you ain't talking, June.
Get her, Mia, get her. Now, as you can see, the first pinnacle number was your 5, right?
Yes.
So now, the first challenge number, my bad. Now, are we doing the same numbers that you did with your pinnacle number to get me your challenge number to get that 5? Your month and your day? Let's add that up.
My
What you
month,
got?
my month and my day is it's the same thing, ain't it?
When you add your month and your day up together? What's your month and your day?
My month is June
Uh-huh.
and
6.
my day is the 29th.
6 plus 2 is 8. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, add.
And we
Yeah.
adding, yeah, we adding. So
Okay,
not
okay,
subtracting. Yeah, now so you won't get the same number. So
okay.
that means that's how we doing the pinnacles right there. So that's the same theme that would carry out and corresponding to every one of your challenge numbers.
Okay.
All right. Since your first challenge number was a 5, the pinnacle number to kind of match that would be the 8. That makes
Okay.
sense. So now we're dealing with the 5 can be your challenges to get to the pinnacle. All right. So the 5, remember we did Mercury, indecisiveness, some of the cause of challenge, right? Making decisions, life
Mm-hmm.
choices, structure, personal freedom, all those different things. Now, this can be a lot of detail, paying attention to things, salesmanship. It just could have been a lot of different things where a lot of challenges could have been changes with the five, but it all led you to more authority, more structure, more eight shit, right?
Mm.
Even when you think about the military and shit for you, right? How that was a hell of a change, but what did it cultivate for you? A lot of eight shit, you know.
Yes.
So it's like shit. That's kind of now when you do the second pinnacle, because yours was 533, right?
5833.
5833. Okay, bet. Now the second was the eight, and then so that was how did we get the second challenge number?
The
Was
year
it
minus the day, so it's the year plus the day.
the year plus the day with the
uh,
second pinnacle?
Is 3 plus 2, which is 5.
Yep. And now you see that five instead of showing up for you. But now the five is saying once you did get over these things, and once you went around those stages of maturity and the ages around 28, 36, career building, identity, relationships, your personal freedom, you understood who you was. That could have led to a lot of different things. You could have been having fun around this time. You stood
Mm-hmm.
things could have amplified. We bring five in, ruling Leo, right? This could have been lovers and children and all kind of shit coming in with the five. But the challenge, of course, was around the eight, right? Resources and structure. And so now I had to apply this in a whole different area of my life, right? How could I apply the challenges or the structure that I got from the military over to with my children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or over to motherhood or my love life or
Yes, I
my
get it.
business life or,
Yeah.
you know, so
I
all
want,
those different things.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I wanted everything to be structured, and
Mhm.
that's how I ran that house.
I know. I ain't want to say nothing, but you know.
Ah.
Oh my God, boy. It's a story, y'all, boy. I ain't gonna even do me like that, but boy.
Yeah, my
Oh
kids
Lord.
try to, yeah, they like, my mama was crazy.
Your mother was crazy. You talking about militant? Oh my God. So
Yes.
now you see the challenges in your cause the eight became your challenge. Too structured,
Yeah.
too rigid, right? Too much Saturn shit. You know, like goddamn, like
Mhm.
damn, you gonna punish everybody around this motherfucker, like
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that type of
yeah,
energy, and that could have
yeah.
felt restricting to you, right? So now
Mhm.
that's kind of holding back the five, right? Holding you back from change, and it could have been very mentally challenging to be so structured and shit, and so yeah. Now we
Wow.
seeing how those themes add up, right? How you look at the pinnacle with the challenge.
Wow. Okay, okay. So I did do my master. It's called a master number because I came
Uh-huh.
up with that 11 on my first challenge card. So I did it both ways. So I'll go back and work that out.
Oh
But
yeah. You know, the master number 11 just amplified the two.
mm-hmm,
So now that you everything you went through, this how I like to simplify the 11 in any aspect, right? Whatever you went through as the two, the moon, the nurturing, the cancer shit, the mother, how that applies to your life. Now you had to
mm-hmm.
become the messenger of that shit.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everything you went through in relationship to your two, right? That
Mhm.
you literally had to become the messenger of that shit, right? The challenges was those relationships and was the nurturing, was the motherhood, and how you could have cared too much about a lot of shit. Once you stop caring, you ain't have no problem delivering a goddamn message to people when they need to
Right.
hear
Yeah. That's how I feel now. Yes.
it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Good shit. Now who
I
else?
have a, I'm sorry, I have a question.
What's up, Shanita?
For my challenge numbers, I got 2644. And now to get to the third pinnacle number, am I just adding the first and second challenge numbers together?
There you go.
Okay,
Yep.
so then my challenge numbers would be 4881.
Now the third pinnacle. Now that's the third pinnacle would be how you add up your first and second pinnacles, not your first and second challenge. That what you meant to say?
Okay, yes.
Pinnacle.
No, well, that's what I, yeah, that's what I
Okay,
wanted to.
yeah,
So
okay,
then it would
big,
be
yeah.
a three. Okay, so
Okay,
then
yeah, that
it's
would be a three.
4831. All right.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that means that your pinnacle would be reaching that Sagittarian energy. That's natural for you, right? Like freedom and, you know, trusting the spiritual parts of you. And that's another spiritual component added to you, and changing your mindset and leading to your own creativity. And that could be money and abundance and travel and all type of shit, right? And these things can be, you know, like the power stage and expansion and mastery, soul work. So this is after the challenge that's associated with your third pinnacle, right? Which can be your third challenge number. That makes
Okay,
sense.
I'll go back and read it. Thanks.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Nah, you good. 'Cause what was your third challenge number? You remember?
So yeah, my third challenge number is 4.
And then your
And
third pinnacle was a 3.
yeah.
So that's like the 4, right? Remember the 4 structure, work, right? Balance, like the mental aspects, the mental health challenges and shit that comes in with the 4, right?
Mhm.
The Uranian detachment, right? The Aquarian aspect, my freedom. I'm rebelling against some shit. I'm in my rebel, and it's like, well, the same things that I'm rebelling against might be the same things where places where I find my freedom. Or as I rebel against those things, or I do detach, this leads to the pinnacle of the 3. The more I detach from the bullshit, the more I'm not so attached to structure and foundational shit and how it's gonna happen. The way it's kind of like the 4, because it wants to build a foundation. It wants to. It's the worker bee number. It's like the workaholic type energy, right? It's like now my challenges is around those themes of now this can be like how I break free from that type of dynamic in my life, so I can embrace the pinnacle of the 3, right? And that's gonna lead me into the pinnacle of the 4 kind of type shit. So the 3 and the 4 could be playing out, and that's why the 4th pinnacle when you add the month and a year, right? So what's your 4th pinnacle?
It's a 1.
A 1. And then what's your 4th challenge?
My 4th challenge is a 4.
Get the all that shit leading to your personal freedom, leadership, all the one shit. Well, look at her. Right, so it's like that's gonna be your challenge until death, like just to be.
Thanks.
So that's gonna be a lot of mental shit that you're gonna have to will yourself through. But once you do, it leads to a lot of freedom, a lot of genius, a lot of innovation, a lot of like personal willpower to literally create your life at your own will. That's like having Aquarius, the knowledge of the water coming in and my channeling abilities. And I don't question, I don't doubt. Like that's like the 4 pillars. And so that's that 4 bringing in a strong foundation that I move on to be my own goddamn self individually. I done been through a lot of shit to be this person that I am, unapologetically unashamed and all that good shit. So I love that. I know, of course, clear you put a 1 and a 4 together. That's a hell of a challenge, but it's of course cultivating out of that 1 for you. So that's some good shit. They help you understand it right there.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Yeah, pardon me, because I wasn't paying attention. I was doing something.
It's
My
all
bad.
good, bro.
Okay, what we doing now?
We doing the pinnacles. All right. Man, we did the challenge where we were subtracting. All
Right.
right. So now the first pinnacle will be the same number, but we add it up. So your day and your birth, your day of your day, the month of the day of your birth, and the month and the day of your birth. Shit.
All right, so I got a 2 and a 6. That's my month and my day. So that equals an 8. My first challenge. Now we're subtracting the first challenge from that number.
Yep. So the first challenge,
That'd be,
the first challenge stays the same, but we're saying how it relates to that number. So
all right,
so
so the 2 and the 6 is an 8.
all right. So that's your first pinnacle, right?
Yes.
And then what's your first challenge number?
A 4.
So that's work and that's structure with structure right there. That's like, now we move from detachment into my own authority type shit, right? Adulthood, like even what coming into your adulthood. So now all of that, all the independence, the rebel, the outcast, the one that was different and did things your motherfucking way and all that shit. It led. The challenge was that because all it did was to cultivate more inner authority and more structure for you to be able to move and be more detached and not be so pulled back into emotional shit and shit. See, this could have made you very, very like focused on work and very driven in your early life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that pinnacle was something. So shit, that's money. That's like Saturn. That's like became your reward. You get what all your hard work pays off like a motherfucker, right? But it's like it don't mean it didn't come with some mental challenges type shit. You know what I'm saying? So those mental challenges that you moved through, it was like work and moving with Saturn and your own structure and inner authority. You didn't have time to feel a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so the reward for you not feeling type shit, right? But it wasn't like you felt, but it was like using this as a place to channel. Right now, the four became a place to channel it. When you felt some shit, you knew you the one that had to change it. So this can bring a lot of hard work, but a lot of success because of your hard work too. So that could have been a theme, especially dealing with the foundation of your self-discovery. You know what I'm saying? So you discovered yourself through work and goddamn authoritative shit, doing shit your way, bossing up, not taking no for an answer, going to work, getting paid. Like this could be multiple jobs, all type of shit, or one steady job. You know what I'm saying? But it's early on in your life, always in some type of position of authority as a reward for you just damn near just showing up and being yourself type shit. You ain't have to do a lot of shit to get recognized for places for things around authority, especially in the corporate structure and shit. Cause this can be somebody like already ready made for corporate work and shit like that. That's how I would view this, like doing I'd be like, yeah, did you do a lot of corporate work early on in your life? Did you get, did you move up fast in job?
You asking me or that's what you're saying? Yes, that was good. Yeah.
What you say, Alberta?
I said, was you asking me or you was just saying that's what you would be asking?
Yeah, that's what I'd
Huh.
be asking, but I
Okay.
know shit. Those are that do that sound about right?
Yes.
hmm So now we get to the second pinnacle by looking at, of course, just looking at the same way we got the challenge number, we adding it up with the year plus the day.
Okay. So the
So
year
that's
plus
just
the date. So if the date, like how we reduced it before, are we doing the same thing if it come out like with a 2-digit number? Yes.
yeah, we're reducing. Yep, we're using the reduced factors.
All right. So is a 6? Well, it was 19, so I made that a 10. So a 6 plus 10, well, actually that becomes a 1, right? That 10
Yep.
becomes a 1.
Yep.
So all right, so 6 plus 1 is 7.
hmm Now that's and then what's the challenge number? Your second
And
challenge number?
my second challenge number was a 5.
Five. So all that change and shit, the maturity around 28 to 36 led to spiritual growth. So that was a spiritual flip for you. At that time in your life, you definitely could have been doing Neptunian shit, spiritual work, community shit, Pisces shit, going with your own flow. You get what I'm saying? Like a lot of that could have been playing out heavily at that stage in your life. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're bringing in the challenge about five and Mercury and all that. So you made a lot of decisions, but it was a lot about your spiritual growth at that time in your life with that seven. Could have been a time where you were seeking a lot of shit, I would say. But that seven could have also brought a lot of times of even this could have been dealing with certain things in relationships and people, love, right? The themes around the seven, because this could have been around Pisces and shit, even around how you begin to share of yourself and all that type of shit. But it was all like a spiritual time for you, a time of like a spiritual awakening could have definitely happened to you at any stage during those years of your life around that time. Or even the spiritual awakening led you right to that time in your life, and it led to a lot of changes with the five still showing up there.
Yeah, I like that.
hmm
Let me see.
And then the third pinnacle, of course, is just adding the first pinnacle because your first pinnacle was an eight, and then your second pinnacle was the seven, right?
7, so that's 15, so that's a 6, right?
The six, family, love, marriage, relationships, partnerships, harmony, reciprocity, right? That's the pinnacle, right? And what's the third? What's the challenge number? The third challenge number.
My third challenge was a 1.
Now, this all this shit Could have made it seem like I ain't losing myself in all of this shit. Family, like, wait a minute, I have to come with my own value system because I ain't doing what was done before, right? So this could have been a lot of challenges around how you showed up in your own individual, doing things on your own, right? Versus now I got to do things for other people and shit like that. So that could have been like your power stage at that point, right? So family became a power dynamic for you at that point in your life, you know. But a lot of it was like, I had to kind of get out a lot of, I was used to being by myself. I was used to not, doing certain things, not depending on people and shit. And ain't like you just kind of started depending on people, but the family dynamic brought a lot of sense of loyalty and, family dynamics. And it could have been a lot of showing up in a lot of more in a reciprocal way around your family life taking some type of shift. But it could have been more in a beautiful aspect or on a power aspect in that point of your life around mastery, even around the soul work that you did, right? Around that brought more self-love, self-harmony. Remember that 6 is perfection. So your life could have felt like it was just pretty perfect at this time. Like, wasn't too much you probably would have changed, right? Based off the things you went through to kind of
Yeah.
be in that one energy.
And check this out. Okay, so my fourth one would be the year plus the date. So that's a 9, 2 plus 7. And then I got a 1. My fourth challenge was a 1.
And the 9, the spiritual master. Look at this shit. You can't make this shit up, right. Like, it's just complete. And I'd be damn if cause that's like the alpha and the omega coming together, the 1 and the 9, the beginning of the spectrum of the numbers and the end of the game.
Ooh, I got a
Very
9 for myself.
humanitarian. All those things about knowing who you are, knowing how to integrate. You know what I'm saying? And niggas still feel like shit. I ain't gonna let nobody ever challenge my individuality or who I am because that foundation is what allows me to move in the 9. Knowing when to walk away, knowing when to say I gave all I can give, I did all I can do. I done been through so many things in my life that lets me know that's the theme of how I gotta move. You know. So that's a beautiful one because that's the legacy, the wisdom, the spiritual harvest. So welcome to the harvest, Alberta. Shit.
I thank you, sir.
Now that was some good shit right there. But that's how anybody. That's how you walk them down, right? That's how you walk down your challenge numbers with your pinnacle numbers. And remember, you can even look at the pinnacle number in the aspect of saying, okay, if I want to look at my first pinnacle number, if I want to look at all of my challenge numbers and see how they might have aspected some of the first parts of my life. You get what I'm saying? Because the challenge numbers could show up at any time. Remember, because they always are urging us to grow emotionally and all that good shit. You get what I'm saying? So the challenge numbers could have showed up in many different ways from different stages of our life. But the pinnacle numbers is what we reach during those levels of maturation. All right. After we done been through a lot of shit that the challenges would bring. All right. So that was some good shit because I like that because the goddamn what's the name numbers resonated with Alberta more than the goddamn challenge numbers did. So I'm glad. Anybody else? This eclipse got to get feeling good in the motherfucker outside.
I got that 9 too for my
Wow.
pinnacle.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your fourth challenge?
My fourth challenge is the 3.
3.
Yeah.
So your creativity is what's gonna fuel your spiritual harvest.
Yes. Going through that right now.
You know what I'm saying? But that's gonna be like having to use your wisdom a lot and having to know like what I created, I don't have to wait for results. I created it because I love it. I created it because I know it, because it's part of my wisdom. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a result of what's coming from the 9. You feel what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
That's like I made all these books. I got some printed up, and it's like I'm okay that I didn't sell them all. It's like not a big deal for me because I sell them as I sell them.
That part.
But it's like I got them done, and
That
that's
feels
how I
good
feel.
for you. You
Yeah,
created it.
yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you with that. When you tie that into the 9 energy and you look at the cycles associated with 9, Pluto, Mars, right? Scorpio ship.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, Like all of your creations has to percolate in the cosmic womb, especially by you being a Cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you created the books, but then a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, they in high demand. See, that's kind of how your shit can work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Cancer too. So you can also use some aspects of the moon and shit like that, to kind of incorporate the feeling or the emotion behind your projects. You know what I'm saying? The energy, the intention behind your projects, like all that good shit. Cause that nine brings a hell of a spiritual component that you can utilize with that three. Cause the three and the nine definitely wants you to use the spiritual aspects of things to create that longevity, that legacy, that what the fourth pinnacle year wants to bring. You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
You already doing that shit. That was just confirmation for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so like how you did with June, like my
Mm-hmm.
ascending is Sagittarius.
Right.
So the
So
descending
especially with
is,
your
huh?
so we want to look at what you're in a nine pinnacle year, right?
If that's the last one that we did,
Yeah, what's the last one we did?
yeah,
So,
9.
so we know the nine is also ruled by Pluto, Mars, Scorpio type energy. So we can definitely see like where Pluto is transiting in Aquarius in your chart that'll kind of add a theme to it. We can also see where Mars is transiting in your chart that'll add a theme to the pinnacle, the year of the nine, right? So by you having a Sagittarius rising, right, it's kind of like what we talked about in astrology class, how the rising sign sets the order of the chart. So automatically with Sagittarius being your rising, that rules your first house. That's my rising too. So the next sign after Sag will rule your second house, and that would be what?
Capricorn,
Yup. And then the next house after Sagittarius will rule your
Aquarius,
third house. So that means that Pluto transit Aquarius is in your what?
the third house.
You better goddamn know it. So that's the house of communication, the mundane, that can be like a rebirth around thoughtful on how you communicate. It's like now the humanitarian aspect, the teaching aspect, the wisdom of Pluto, right? So we bring that in with the nine. That's gonna be a part of your pinnacle. That's gonna be a part of how you your legacy, a part of what you leave behind. Communication, right? Things around Gemini, writing shit, books and scripts and things like that that humanity can benefit from with Aquarius stuff you know. So it's time for your teachings to be on display, but it's gonna be also be dealing with your style of communication and all that good shit. Cause social media, you got Aquarius and Gemini. Oh, definitely. If you get on social media, ain't no telling what the hell you might attract. Like straight up, you get on social media talking your shit, talking about the shit you know, and it ain't about what you don't know. Cause Gemini, third house. Ah, damn. That's why I said that to you earlier. That's fucking crazy. Gemini is about trusting what you gathered. Because I don't know everything about astrology. I don't. It's people like Rob Cool, certain people that I listen to that been doing this shit 45 years and shit. Like, I shut the fuck up and I listen. That don't mean I don't know what I know. You get what I'm saying? Like, when it's time me to talk about what I know, or shit, I could talk all goddamn day. But if somebody talking about something I don't know, I'm gonna shut my ass up and listen. So Gemini is like, I might not know everything, but I know enough, right? I know enough to talk about it. And if I don't know enough to talk about it, I know when to shut up and gather more information. That's the research aspect of Sagittarius. The researcher. I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna go explore it. I'm gonna expand on this shit. Matter of fact, you gave me one little piece of information. I took that shit and ran with that shit. You see how they play out, Alberta?
Yes.
So yeah, podcast, all that type of shit. This can even be writing books and shit. Um, like straight up. So yeah, that definitely could be there. Cause that third house, you put Pluto on Aquarius there. Like yeah, I don't if you've been having any type of that's Pluto. If you've been having whatever you've been thinking about internally, that you want to teach or leave behind, legacy wise with the nine, but you ain't really done it. You've been thinking about it, but ain't really done it. Feel like you ain't gathered enough information yet. I ain't researched enough yet. Pluto is saying, do that shit. Like, what you waiting on? There's people out here talking loud, don't know nothing about the shit they talking about. You know enough to come out here to where people will resonate to what you're saying. They'll hear your message. With Pluto and Aquarius, though, not only will they hear it, people want to hear it. People need to hear what you got to say. They need your wisdom. We need your wisdom out here, my bro.
I heard you. Thank you.
All right. Now that's some good shit right there. Cause yeah, that's she. Yeah, I love the planetary aspects. Cause now we get a little bit deeper. Cause remember, the numerology is the source code. Like literally, the planets are the mechanics. Whenever we can tie, especially with pinnacles and challenge numbers, you know, certain numbers that kind of stay the same, like light pad number. You get what I'm saying? Like even tying that into your ascendant sign and shit like that. I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later on. But when we talking about how these numbers correspond to something astrologically in your chart, right? Because the numbers are like stay this path, stay the course. That's why I look at the numbers, like in them old movies and shit. Stay the course, stay the course. Hold the line, all that kind of shit. Like it's like, yeah, stay the course, hold the line. Everything is cool. I know the mechanics of the chart might be doing the damn fool. I know the moon is over here right now. You get what I'm saying? Like I know Mars just moved over here. I know Neptune just did this. I know Saturn just did this. I get out the numbers, like I get all of that. I feel you. I understand. But I'm right here. I'm the baseline. All this shit is measured by me. So stick to me. All that shit ain't gonna. You can just keep on flowing, doing what you're doing. That shit gonna pass, right? What's going on in the stars? It always passes. Transits pass. That's why we always have trans. That's why I do a workshop every 2 goddamn weeks. Transits pass. The moon is phasing. That's why eclipses, like I always say, are like experiencing. So today, it's like we experience all moon phases in one day. The same thing happened with the last eclipse. You get what I'm saying? So in that aspect, we truly understand the power of being connected to these planetary energies and how our bodies just on certain clocks that we can't do nothing about. Right. So June has said that earlier, like I'm just over here because we can't do shit about what's going on with an eclipse. Hell, it wasn't even visible on our side of the world. You get what I'm saying? So this, it's just a trip when you think about it. But I love how the numbers are always reminding us that no matter what's playing out in our chart or what's playing out in the cosmos, if we stick to this, everything gonna go the way it's supposed to go. I promise you. It's like, so the math gonna always be mathing. We might not always know what's on either side of the equation, but when you understand what's kind of at play or what's influencing, this information will help me be like, all right, so I just gotta go through this shit. I ain't saying it felt good. I ain't gonna hold you. But it's like, okay, so this is what the fuck it is right now. This is what's going on. All right, big, cool, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right. I definitely appreciate the cheat codes because, baby, all these things have been playing out all this time. And I'm like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me this stuff was here all along? But I guess if this was the time that I needed to have this come to my awareness. So thank you.
nah, I'm telling you, that's how shit. Cause for me, these nodes, like straight up, I was born during this type of eclipse season. The nodes were in Virgo and Pisces, like straight up, and I was born a few months after an eclipse. Not only that, in 2000, my mother's transitioned in 2004. This was leading up into the eclipse. It was 3 years before this eclipse, well, this style of eclipse. Because in 2007 is when I came out of my depression. And 2007 was the correlation to this eclipse that we're having now. So when I'm measuring my life by those cycles, right, from 2007 all the way up until now, and the age I was, the age I am now, my pinnacle numbers and all this shit, man, I can't be mad at shit. You get what I'm saying? Like, how I'ma know all of this and be mad still about my mama dying or what I went through or how I'ma measure my life when this shit is saying you exactly where you supposed to be. Like, regardless of what you think or how you trying to want your life to be, you might not like it, it might not feel good, but the math right here is like it's just like when you go to school and you get a grade, you like, how in the fuck I get a B? I worked so hard to get an A. How I got to see how I flunk? You get what I'm saying? Like, hey, I don't know what to tell you. The numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie. The numbers don't motherfucking lie. You hear me? So it's done been
Right.
times I done had to laugh at this shit, man. When I first started doing this shit and I was seeing what it meant for my life, I just sit up and be like, man, I remember I used to be writing. I got old notebooks and shit, and I just drop the pen. Like, god damn. And close the notebook. I don't even want to write no more. I don't even want to divine nothing else. I ain't trying to break nothing else down. I just went down a rabbit hole and bumped my goddamn head on a rock some goddamn where. You know what I'm saying? With no knot to prove it. I can't even tell somebody how I got this knot. You get what I'm saying? Like, so now I love this shit because the mental anguish that we can go through, right? Without to me, without knowing that we out here got a calling on us, got certain things on us, planetary influences, like all that shit. It don't make the shit feel no better at times, like straight up, but it does make the mental aspect go a little bit less. I would say entangling. All right. So, anybody else want to talk about their challenge numbers and their pinnacle numbers? All right. So, what we're gonna do is Wednesday night. I'm gonna kind of start breaking down some of the masculine and feminine qualities of the numbers, like I talked about, um, and we'll also start to get off into the soul urge and the personality numbers, kind of breaking those down a little bit more in depth. I won't spend a lot of time on it because remember y'all already got that kind of in the first week, especially with the math of it. But now that we kind of understand this, I want to start giving my perspective on how I give these numbers. And how I kind of break down these readings and all that good shit. So, after we kind of tap in on Wednesday on study group and we start to go into the masculine and feminine principles, after that we'll start getting to some of my philosophies around these numbers and how I like to break down people's birthdays and how I like to utilize all of these different mathematical equations without doing the math per se. All right, by just using certain numbers to bring in our perspectives. I kind of gave y'all a hint when I said the attitude number, right? Because if you take if you take your first pinnacle number as your attitude number, right? And I say the things that piss you off, that becomes your challenge, right? Because remember it's the first thing. It's like that first number. It's like how you done mold and shape yourself from 0 to 27. It's a lot of people still act like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of time we got our personality in that time, and we'll see how that relates to the personality number, all right, and the stages of that, and how that kind of cultivates the attitude energy until you get a better attitude about life. Ain't that what a challenge gonna do? You see how I just took that simple thing, and it's like, damn, well, that type of shit. If I was to ask you about some of the challenges that correlate to your um first pinnacle number, and I ask you, do some of that shit that challenge you, do it piss you off? You gonna say, yeah. Yeah, some of that shit pissed me off. Even it pissed me off that I do some of that shit sometimes. You get what I'm saying? Like, so when we're being honest and then like raw with ourselves, like, yeah, even if it piss you off in other people type shit. So it's kind of like how I want to tap in on that, but we'll talk about that. We get after we talk about the masculine and feminine qualities of the numbers. I'll talk about that from an astrological perspective as well, showing you how the numbers 1 through 9 kind of correlate to the spiritual and the material plane as well. So we'll tap in on that. And anybody else that want to go a little bit deeper, because I know y'all might go down a little rabbit hole with these challenge numbers and these pinnacle numbers. So,
I'm already there. I'm already there.
Didn't
so
say.
Soon as
yeah,
I
good shit. So now we could definitely go over that Wednesday. All right, a little
Excuse
deeper.
me. Before
Mhm.
you close, I was trying to get the microphone unmuted. I wanted to go through mine real quick, please. My
Okay, what you got?
challenge numbers one,
Hmm.
2, 1, 5.
So your challenge numbers are what? One. So let's start with the first one. What's your first call? I know we went to your first challenge and your first pinnacle with the 1 and the 6, right?
Yes.
All right. So what's your second challenge number?
2,
All right. And then what's your second pinnacle number?
5.
5. So
Yes.
all that emotional, the tool, the mood, the feelings, the heaviness, the empathy, this can even be mother wounds and things on the shadow aspect dealing with the two, right? All those different things that you go through or went through or experienced in that aspect leads you to more personal freedom and personal growth with the 5, right? And this could mold how you embrace your own freedom, the decision that you make. So once your decisions are long or rooted in like caring for other people and what they think and what they feel and what they need from you, you'll really be able to truly kind of move past that second, that challenge number with that 2 into more of that 5 with the personal freedom. That makes sense.
Um, when you said yes, the way you broke it down.
Cause remember,
Okay.
two is the moon. All right. Let me give you the foundational aspects. 2 is the moon,
Yeah.
right? Everything the moon, mood, emotions, my feelings and shit, right? Now
Right.
you can look at 5 is Mercury, my
Mm-hmm.
mental, how I embrace change, Virgo and Gemini energy. So if you keep the foundational aspects of the planets with each number, you won't ever be able to just draw a blank. Cause when you think about a planet, you should think about a lot of shit that's connected to you with the moon, right? You could think
Right.
about your moon sign. Now you truly seeing how this number is affecting your mood. That's why I went to issues with the mother. Cause if
Right.
it's a 2, it's gonna be with the moon. Now your moon sign could tell me what kind of issues, as you know. So those type of things that affect your mood, right? The moon. Now how that affects your mental and how you got to break free from that curring, those emotional aspects that don't keep you embracing freedom and shit, right? Choosing yourself, choosing what you want to do. You know, that's the 5. You see how I put it together?
I do. Uh-huh. So
Hmm.
smooth. You're so smooth. All right.
Now,
Um,
what's your third pinnacle?
it's 2,
Your third pinnacle is 2, and what's your third challenge?
1.
Individuality to 1. The sun, right? Doing it on your own, right? Feel like you got to do everything on your own and all that type of shit, but it's gonna lead to more of a harmonious relationship with yourself, the 2, right? Instead of being so caught up in caring so much. This is like if I get to truly honor myself, the 1, my mood won't be so fucked up. See how I just flipped the 2? It's not a
Yeah.
challenger, it's a pinnacle. You see what I'm saying? It's a
Mm-hmm.
place you need to reach. It's something that's always cultivating you through the 1. You think it's fucking with you. You think it's fucking with your individuality. You think you always got to do shit for other people. Well, all this team building and learning how to do things with other people and learning how to be a follower and all that shit is cultivating a leader in you. Every time you don't have an agenda for your life and somebody else got one for you, it's like mama with the mother, with the matriarch, with the 2, being able to say, "Now that's your life. You got to live it." Because I know who I am, and I know that you got to figure out who you are too. So the 1 becomes your foundation for the 2 in that aspect. That makes sense.
Yes.
Hmm. Now, what's your fourth
Oh,
pinnacle number,
4th one is 3,
and what's your fourth challenge?
5.
I'm gonna let you break this one down. What you
Mm.
think the 5 in the aspect? Because remember, last time it led to freedom, right? The emotions and shit. You had this as a pinnacle number as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is like when you're being indecisive. I'm gonna give you just a way to look at it. Cause 3 is your pinnacle, Jupiter, Sagittarius shit, right? The 5
Mm-hmm.
becomes your challenge, right? Now the challenge of making these decisions, choosing my personal freedom. What that mean for you?
I don't know. I don't know. I
What
have
is
to know what the 5 means, right?
Mercury? What
That's
what does Mercury rule?
that's the hold on. I
You
gotta look at
good?
my notes.
Mercury rules
That's
communication.
communication. Yes.
Mhm. Also, remember I just said that's the number of personal freedom.
Mm-hmm.
5, Mercury deals with making decisions.
Travel.
Virgo, Virgo also deals with what? Paying attention to detail. All right. Gemini is how I communicate that shit and all that good shit. Do I trust my own thoughts? Am I overly analytical with the Virgo? You get what I'm saying? And now it leads to the 3. All those challenges around the 5. This is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mental challenges and shit, clearly, right?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
Now it's all when it's out your head, and we're looking at Jupiter and the 3. Instead of thinking small, what should you be thinking? I ain't gonna put the B word with it.
I should expand my thinking
Uh, it's like when that means you say you thinking small, you should be thinking big.
bigger. Right.
Yeah. So that's the 3. The challenge is I'm always in my head. I'm always like on. The 3 is saying just do the shit. Sagittarius, just go explore it. Just whatever you thinking ain't gonna stop what it is anyway. That's Sagittarius. Like you might well go and experience it since you thinking about it so much. Mercury and Virgo can want to respond to a lot of shit with thought and not action. Sagittarius is about that action. I ain't gonna think about it too long before I do the shit. So,
That's a struggle right there. It's like a war.
because guess what? It's your 4th pinnacle year, and this is 46 until death. So it's
Oh,
your 4th pinnacle.
yeah.
You in that energy right now.
Right.
So yeah, it's like you're gonna have to trust your own creativity, right? Embrace your you gotta use the 5 as a foundation. You gotta make a choice and stick with that motherfucker. Does this choice cultivate my personal freedom and my creativity? If it doesn't, I'm caring too much about some shit. You're going back into the last challenge. You feel what I'm saying? You're not using your emotional intelligence to cultivate change. You see how I just put all your challenges and pinnacles and shit together?
Yeah.
Because you got to trust yourself throughout it, the one. And sometimes you might have to say, fuck them people. They ain't gonna be mad. Some people might have to go on and figure out what they gonna do without me. Or I might have to put some structure in place to make sure that everything is good so I can create the space and the opportunity for me to walk away. 3. See?
Okay.
Now
Let
you
me
get it?
do some work because that was a lot. And the way you broke it down, I see I got a lot to do. I got
Well, I'm gonna
more
hit
to
you with the
learn.
Yoda. I've been hitting a
Mhm.
lot of people with the Yoda quote lately. There is no do. There is no try. I mean, you just only do.
Mhm.
So go do it. You already doing it is what I'm telling you. You
Yes,
living
sir. Yes, sir. Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome,
Don't
beloved.
try, do.
Yes, there
You
is no
didn't
try.
say it right.
There is no try. There's only do.
Physically.
Okay, real quick, let me ask this. I am a 2 of clubs. So how does that how does that well, no, that's going down another rabbit hole. I'll figure that part out later in another day.
Aha, there we go. Yes, something has been sparked in that 2 of clubs mind, huh? And that's the trip. Cause the clubs rules the mind and it rules the mental aspects and Mercury shit and the teenagers of the tarot of the cardology suites.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So yes, you are very mercurial by nature and want to know some shit. That 5 could be kicking your ass because of hesitation and contradictions and making a leap of faith and significant decisions in your life is very connected to the 2 of clubs.
Mhm.
So yes, you caught that.
Yeah. Okay. You just broke me down.
Keep going down the rabbit hole. Break
Okay.
yourself down.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, beloved. Anybody else?
Sensei, I have a question.
Talk to me.
Remember you saying about the missing numbers? What are we gonna do with the missing numbers that aren't in our name?
Tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. All right. We're gonna take a we're gonna take a look at the feminine and masculine qualities of the numbers and the material and the spiritual aspects of the numbers. And then from that on Wednesday, we'll be able to look at the numbers that's missing from the name because you just got into the homework. Appreciate you. So for everybody who didn't hasn't done that yet, pull from your name. All right, you can pull use your first, middle, and last name. What numbers are missing from your name? And then on Wednesday, and when I go over the masculine and feminine qualities of the name, or the also the spiritual and kind of material aspects of the name of the numbers, I will mean, you will see what those numbers that are missing could mean about missing qualities or traits about you, right? And then we'll also get into what numbers show up the most, which can show up or which can represent what quality could be heavy or overexpressed in you. All right. So missing numbers can show those qualities or traits that you could be missing. All right. And it also can represent some areas in your life to where it always seem like you go through certain things in this area. All right. So we'll see what that looks like. And then we're also going to see what numbers are most dominant in your name as well. So that makes sense. They help out, Alberta.
Yes.
All right.
Sensei, I think when I did mine, I did it both ways. Does it matter if we did it with the Pythagoras or the Chaldean?
Oh no, both because both of them. If you use both aspects, all we're gonna do is look at and see how they both resonate.
Okay.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to put some PTO time in for Wednesday because it's gonna be good.
Yeah, we're gonna cause now you're gonna see how a lot of these numbers show up in your name, and then as we get into soul urge numbers, it can also add to why your soul urge number is the way it is, or the number that it is. So, anybody else got any questions? All right, beautiful souls. Beautiful class. And of course, the replay will be posted up in there. My laptop going crazy over here, so let me figure out what's going on with this thing. But we will get this uploaded to the classroom. So I appreciate you all once again for y'all time, y'all energy, and see y'all next. I'm see y'all Wednesday. Same bad channel, same bad time. Peace.
Sensei,
Peace.
last
Thank
week
you.
Wednesday wasn't in there neither. The
It's not
replay.
in there either.
The replay.
It's from the challenge numbers. Was that the challenge numbers you went over last week? Okay, I'm
Yes.
gonna
Yeah.
check that date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check that date to make sure they get up in there too.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. All right, y'all. Enjoy y'all nights. Peace.
All
Peace.
right.
Good night.